Next law is Law 17, Law of Infinite Data. The number of phenomena to be known is infinite, meaning that while Law 1 knowledge emphasizes understanding brings control, Law 17 clarifies that because the data is infinite, you can't get total control, which is why I did explain when I did Knowledge 1, Law 1. Um, there's no final endpoint in learning. There's always something new. Um, Expansion of the personal universe. Because the data is infinite, the personal universe you create is also infinite growth. Uh, Down here, whenever a new particle is discovered or a new galaxy is mapped, it doesn't complete the map because the map itself is infinite. So it allows you to be constantly curious and constantly motivated to push forward, no matter what level you're at. Law of 18, Law of Finite Senses. Um, that means that you only have the a couple sentences to use, and it's every mechanism is learned by both range and type. The teaches us that the perception is not an open window, but more like a keyhole. Um, and therefore we can't absorb all the data all the time because you only have uh the five plus sense, five normal and the rest physical senses. Um, so every sensory receiver has a specific range, like a maximum minimum. There are noises which we can't hear that a dog does. That goes back to not being able to uh, receive all information because a dog received it, but it's just you that is having a hard time receiving that. So that's what this law kind of emphasizes on. The law of infinite universes. Now, we expand the infinite possibilities with personal universes, and it creates a law of infinite universes. So, the total number of combinations are infinite. There's nothing that can be done all the way. Um, that dictates that every decision has acting as a pivot point. Prime example, Back to the Future, changing one small thing can branch out to many different things. So it borders on the fact that you have choice. Humans have choice. And so because there's many choices you can take, uh, leading to a limitless number of combinations. Like, what was said in one of my favorite shows, Suits, was that if somebody gets a gun to your head, that doesn't mean that you have two options. You can also break the wall behind you. You can also steal the gun from him. You can counter it and duck. So there is infinite choices in that moment. So that's what it kind of means in a nutshell. The law of true falsehood is that the truth is not always binary. It's uh perfectly true, but under specific creations. So that does not mean that it's true in every sense, just true in a certain sense. Um, like a falsehood in general sense can function as a truth if it navigates a specific unique set of circumstances. This also goes back to the infinite choices. Um, what it creates a situation, and then the truth in that moment is that it created that situation. But if you take down other paths, it doesn't. The law of polarity. It explains how most information is structured in a state of dualism. Yin yang. There are two polarities that are opposite but equal. Every positive has a trace of negative, and every truth has a trace of falsehood. That's why they also say the best lie is one that borders on truth. The dualistic structure posits that all phenomena in the universe are composed of opposing forces, and that's reflected over and over and over because of the whole balance thing that's in a lot of these laws. It dictates that there's only one or the other. So if you refer to that ancient symbol with a little bit of white dot and a little bit of black dot inside of the opposites, that's exactly what this law is talking about. The law of synthesis. This states that combine two opposing things to create a new, truer pattern than the separate two. This means that if you combine the two things, especially if they're opposites, it creates a whole new truth. And in that truth, it combines it, actually strengthening the truth. And that is why it's more true than the other separate two. The truer pattern is described as truer because it takes both variables to create aspects. So, but a true magnet has a both positive and negative, but you can't just have a magnet with only positive or only negative. The law of dynamic balance. To survive and be all powerful, one must strive to complete total omega. And that is, balance is not staying still, but it is balance in the truest sense of everything. So the true omega is equal parts light, equal parts dark. It exists with all equals. That is the pursuit of completeness, that no part of the system is neglected, and that all sides are seen equally. The dynamic balance implies that the practitioner must constantly shift their weight, energy, and focus to counteract with internal and external changes. The true power here is the ability to maintain the state. An athlete must balance intense training with deep recovery. This is not a 50-50 split every day. During competition, the balance shifts to training, and during the off-season, it shifts to recovery. This fluid movement is what allows them to remain all-powerful. You have to have both sides to become that powerful. And the law of synthesis creates a unified pattern. The balance sustains the unified pattern through constant adjustment. A law of personality states anything that can go wrong will go wrong, do so in the worst of ways, so control everything. This is the whole, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So try to control every aspect, even ones that you don't think will happen, but just in case. So especially when it comes to high levels of personality and against the capacity for maximum disruption otherwise. So always take care of the biggest possible issues at the top, and work your way down. That will maximize success. Maximizing failure. This principle says that in an uncontrolled state, errors will naturally gravitate toward the outcome that causes the most damage. That means you have to keep it in control, otherwise it will err in a highly negative and highly harmful way. In cybersecurity and network security, practitioners assume that anything that can go wrong will go. See, right there. And a single port is left open, an attacker will find it and use it for the worst possible breach. By controlling everything through a zero trust architecture, they mitigate the law of personality. That is why cybersecurity also doubles as a hacker, because they attempt to hack their own system to see flaws and loopholes. If you really want an interesting story that explains it, look up Lieutenant Quackers. It is a duck that kept going around our military, and eventually a full scale, looking into it, why it was appearing all over. It really took a big hit when it got into one of the most secure offices inside the Pentagon. And rather than firing that soldier that was moving around and, violating protocols, they promoted him to a type of cybersecurity because he was able to identify so many flaws before those flaws became an issue. The law of unity. It recognizes that everything is connected. The only time things are not is when the data is incomplete. Meaning, so long as the data is complete, then everything is connected. And that means that the universe is singular, unbroken web of cause and effect. And so that is why a lot of these laws exist, because of the fact that everything is related. The illusion of separation. Things only appear separate when viewed through a finite senses, which is the one about the whole dog whistle not being able to hear it, or when the practitioner has incomplete data, which just means that they lack the proper research or investigation into it. The mood of a single member in their group might seem isolated from your overall sales. However, through the law of unity, that member's energy affects the comment section, which affects the schools or the social proof, which ultimately affects the bottom line. Seeing the unity allows you to treat every small interaction as a vital part of the whole business. That's why a lot of companies will try and do NDAs and stuff like that, so that the bottom line isn't affected from a disgruntled person. The law of unintended outcome. Every action has unintended outcomes. Some could be good, some could be bad. Understand the whole, control the outcome. So the law is the ultimate check on the practitioner powers. It acknowledges that because of the law of unity and the law of infinite data, no human can perfectly predict every consequence of an action. Every stone thrown into a pond creates ripples that travel further than the eye can see. Closing the loop. This law brings the curriculum back to Law 1 knowledge. To control the unintended, you must first return to the pursuit of deeper knowledge. That way you can prepare for different things. And so it loops back. Like community incentives, you offer a prize for the most active member of increased engagement. That's an intended outcome. This causes members to post low quality spam just to win. That was unintended. By understanding the personality law of the group, you can design an incentive to reward quality instead of quantity. And so if you were able to figure out the unintended before you did it, it will save a lot of headache and a lot of hassle. So that is all the laws in a nutshell. Thank you for listening. It is a long lesson, but one that I feel is well worth it. And God bless, marry me, marry ye part.